Welcome to the Big D Breakdown. I am your host, Larry Leese. And today we're diving into the latest headlines from AT&T Stadium. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Poddex, for sponsoring this episode. If you want to grow your audience and get more engagement, check out Poddex. Go to poddex.com and use the promo code Larry21 for 10% off your order. We'd also like to thank Game Time for sponsoring this episode. If you're looking for the best place to get your Cowboys tickets or other tickets to other sporting events like the Texas Rangers, the Dallas Mavericks, you're going to want to check out Game Time. And if you use the link in the description, you can help support the show. And now on to our first topic. We're going to dive into 4 standout players from Week 1 of the Dallas Cowboys training camp. This season is an important one for the Dallas Cowboys. They won 12 games last year, but once again faltered in the playoffs. Mike McCarthy's seat is starting to get warm, and the front office could take a lot of heat for losing several key players in the offseason. Dallas is clearly banking on some of their younger players to step up in 2022, and so far in training camp, we have seen several of them doing all they can to make an impression. While it's nice to see players like Prescott and CeeDee Lamb start to get meaningful work in, other players who are competing for a roster spot have been out there showing why they deserve to be on the team for 2022. So let's take a look at 4 players who have stood out amongst the rest from Week 1 in Oxnard. Number 4, apologies if I say his last name wrong, Sean McKeon, tight end. With Dallas moving on from Blake Jarwin after another injury this offseason, the number 2 spot behind Dalton Schultz is wide open. And third-year player Sean McKeon is taking full advantage of this. He has been showing great footwork and has made the most of every opportunity he's received thus far. Listed at 6'5" and 246 pounds, he's showing very quick feet and even pulled down a few impressive contested catches, including a touchdown pass thrown by Dak Prescott. As an undrafted rookie out of Michigan in 2020, Sean appeared in 14 games, but was primarily a special teams player. He recorded no stats and never had a pass come his way on offense. In year 2, he appeared in fewer games, but saw more action in the passing game. He finished with just 4 receptions for 27 yards, but did score a touchdown against the Las Vegas Raiders. McKeon has received a lot of praise for the growth he's shown early in camp and could win the number 2 spot should his play continue. Next up, at number 3. Oh, I hate saying this guy's name. Osa Odigizua, defensive tackle. As a rookie, he started out strong for the Cowboys last year, a third-round pick from UCLA. He appeared in 16 games with 12 starts and 36 tackles with 2 sacks. Unfortunately, he seemed to hit a rookie wall as the year continued. His explosiveness seemed to disappear some, and he wasn't creating as much push up the interior with his pass rush. Looking ahead to 2022, that might be changing. He showed up to camp ready to make an impact, and Bobby Belt took notice. In an article from 105.3 The Fan, Belt said that Osa looks to be in his prime physical conditioning as he enters his sophomore season in Dallas. As a whole, the defensive tackle position is a question mark for Dallas. They like what he provides as an interior pass rusher, and they're also banking on him taking a big step forward this season. Next to him will be Neville Gallimore, who can provide more help and run support. Gallimore is coming off an injury-plagued season, but if he and Osa can hit their potential, it would go a long way towards improving the defense as a whole. And at number 2, Anthony Brown, cornerback. Since joining the Cowboys in 2016, Anthony Brown has been an undervalued player. He started 9 games as a rookie while appearing in all 16 and had 55 tackles with 8 pass defenses and 1 pick. From there, he continued to put up similar numbers while also playing in the slot, which is a tough ask for any corner. Then in 2021, he found himself as a full-time starter for the first time. He responded to the challenge by recording career highs in every major statistical category, including tackles at 71, pass defenses at 17, interceptions at 3. He also scored his first career touchdown in their Week 4 blowout against the New York Giants. Now, heading into 2022, Brown is still playing at a high level. He's been blanketing his receiver on nearly every play and has been knocking down several passes. He's also been drawing praise from McCarthy, who said he's, quote, having a heck of a camp, and that he, quote, pick up right where you left off. Unfortunately for Brown, he's remembered more for his disastrous game on Thanksgiving Day against the Raiders. That day, Brown was flagged 4 times for pass interference, including one that led to a game-winning field goal. Of course, anyone who watched that game saw the refs were calling it super tight, and Derek Carr was simply underthrowing deep passes that forced Brown into a tough spot as the receiver would run into him, trying to get the ball back, drawing a flag every time. The coaching staff should have responded by taking Brown out rather than hoping the flag would stay pocketed. But that didn't happen, and the cornerback was unfairly destroyed for one bad outing. The good news is, he responded by stepping up his game, and he's continued to thrive in camp. And finally, in number 1, TJ Vasher, wide receiver. The injury bug has been a problem for Dallas early in camp. James Washington, who missed time with a foot injury during mini camp, was carted off the field on Monday with another injury to his foot. It was later announced he fractured his right foot and will be out as long as 10 weeks. That means Dallas is now without Washington and Michael Gallup, severely limiting their receiving core. Without many experienced options, some of the younger names are getting a chance to shine, including rookie Jalen Tolbert, who has been delivering when called upon. As good as he's been, however, the player who's really been stealing the spotlight is TJ Vasher, a product of Texas Tech. He was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2021, but didn't play as a rookie after being put on the non-football injury list in August. This year, he seems to be making up for the lost time. Vasher has been making several leaping catches, showing a knack for high-pointing the ball. He also made the catch of camp for Dallas, hauling in a pass with one hand, despite tight coverage from Kelvin Joseph. Vasher has incredible size at 6'6" with an 84-inch wingspan. He entered the league raw, but has already made some huge progress, with which the Cowboys have to be thrilled to see. The Cowboys traded Amari Cooper to the Cleveland Browns in the offseason and extended Gallup. Recently, Gallup said he wouldn't be ready for Week 1 as he recovers from a torn ACL. With him out, and Washington also expected to miss time, players such as Vasher could find their way to the field. That seemed to be a scary prospect a week ago, but perhaps he can take advantage and claim a spot going forward. And as we talk about those injuries to Washington and Gallup, we move on to our next topic. Reasons that the Cowboys should reach out to Emmanuel Sanders. The Dallas Cowboys are the personification of Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. It's typically been the nature of business for the last decade, and things haven't gotten better. In the latest example, one of their newest offseason signees, receiver James Washington, won't get to make his Cowboys debut until late October at the very earliest. It's time to hit the panic button, whether Jerry Jones wants to admit it or not. And the Cowboys don't have a ton of options in terms of replacing Washington. They could elevate someone from a lower level, a fringe guy that wouldn't have made the team, a guy they plan to sign as a practice squad player, or a guy that was a little lower on the depth chart. They could stand pat and do nothing, but that wouldn't be smart, one would assume. The last option is the one that probably makes the most sense. They could go and add another guy to help offset Washington's absence. And while there are a few veteran options out there, the one that most fits their immediate needs at this moment is none other than wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders. Hear me out. Sanders, who is 35 years old at this point, is coming off a decent year with the Buffalo Bills. Starting in 13 games and playing in 14 for Buffalo last season, Sanders tallied 42 receptions for over 600 yards. Though he only averaged 44 receiving yards per game last season, his production was impressive, considering he was competing for targets with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox, and Gabriel Davis. Generally, it still says that Sanders has something to offer, even at 35 years old. The specifics of it all are why he should be the guy if they choose to add to that group, and over guys like Will Fuller or Odell Beckham Jr. For starters, Sanders has played 11 or more games in every season of his 12-year NFL career. In every season except one, his second in 2011, Sanders has played at least 12 games a season. though his 58.3% catch rate last season was below his career average of 62%, you can assume that that's the anomaly and not the norm, as he has been around 68% or higher in his last 5 seasons. So it all boils down to this. Not only will Sanders likely be one of the most cost-efficient options out there, but he's also probably the most dependable at this point from a hands and availability on game day perspective. He can come in and give you a lot of the same things that Washington may have been able to, as he is of a similar mold of a wideout and was birthed in the same Steelers system. Sanders is also a title-winning vet, so on top of what he adds from a production standpoint, he should be good to have in the building around all that other young talent. And hey, if all else fails, Cole Beasley wouldn't be a bad guy to bring back either, considering he's already said he'd be interested in playing with Dak Prescott again. But that's for another conversation. But one other guy to consider signing would be the first day of padded practice did not go as planned for James Washington or the outlook of the Cowboys receiving corps. While jumping up for a deep pass, Washington landed awkwardly and seemingly got rolled up on, resulting in a foot injury. ESPN's Todd Archer later said that the receiver will undergo surgery on this past Tuesday and will miss 6 to 10 weeks. With the fracture confirmed, it's time to hit the panic button. For my money, I would also consider signing Will Fuller. Dallas could use a deep threat, and that is exactly what Fuller does best. The Notre Dame alum has struggled with injuries throughout his career, but he is healthy now, and that is something the Cowboys need at receiver. So let's take a look at why they should sign him. The wide receiver depth chart currently looks like CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Noah Brown, and Simi Foko. There are too many question marks in that group for a team that will rely on Prescott in the passing game to carry the offense. Fuller should be fresh after a season that saw him play in only 2 games. His best year came in 2020 when the 28-year-old brought in 53 passes for over 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. When healthy, Fuller has been atop the league in yards per target and yards per route run. His big playability is quite evident. According to Player Profile, he was first in the league with 11 yards per target back in 2020. The straight line speed will not be an issue for Fuller, who once clocked a 4.32 40-yard dash time. He also adds a veteran to a room that is full of young players and undrafted free agents, similar to what Emmanuel Sanders brings. The 7-year vet also has a similar skill set to that of Washington. Filling that deep threat role will do wonders for Prescott, who had 7.5 yards per attempt last year, which was 10th in the league. Fuller is far from a perfect option at receiver, but with the position the Cowboys front office put this team in, he seems like the best option in the ones that are left. The Cowboys simply cannot go into the season with CeeDee Lamb and then a bunch of unproven commodities at wide receiver. Starting the season with Tampa and Cincinnati is another reason why Dallas needs to get a veteran into camp quickly. Dallas can't afford to get crushed by 2 of the better teams in the league to start their season. Jerry Jones and company should be on the phone right now looking for another receiver. And Fuller should be the first call they make. Now, before we move on, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you sign Emmanuel Sanders or Will Fuller? Let us know. And of course, as always, give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Check us out on Good Pods. And now on to our next topic, 3 realistic goals from Micah Parsons. Dallas Cowboys training camp is underway. This 2022 football season officially here. The Cowboys are looking to repeat as second-year linebacker. Micah Parsons will likely be a big reason for their success. Not only is Parsons confident in his ability to perform in year 2, but so is coach. Parsons comes into the second season with high expectations. Dallas will need another great encore performance from number 11 to have similar defensive success in 2022. So how can the linebacker improve on an impressive first season? Here are some goals he can set. Number 3, 25 plus tackles for loss. In 2021, Parsons finished the season tied for third in the league with 20 tackles for loss. The league leaders TJ Watt and Nick Bosa beating him out by 1 for the league lead. This season, the reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year should take a step up in the tackles for loss category. His speed and ability to shed blocks makes it easy for him to spend all game in the opposing team's backfield. Tackles for loss are huge for a defense because it allows them to make the offense play from behind the chains and force them into obvious passing downs. The Dallas defense had a ton of success on third downs last year. To be exact, they were second in the league in opponent third down conversion rate, allowing conversions on only 34.75% last year. For the Cowboys defense to be successful in 2022, Parsons is going to have to perform at a high level once again. Achieving 25 tackles for loss will be difficult, but it is within the realm of possibility based on what he did as a rookie. And number 2, 15 plus sacks. Entering the 2021 season, most were unsure how the Cowboys would allow Parsons to rush the passer. Luckily, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn put him in a position to get after the passer a lot, and Parsons responded with 13 sacks. The linebacker already has his eyes set on a lot more than 13 this season. The 23-year-old told CBS Sports that 15 is the minimum, but his goal is to beat the NFL single season record. While 23 sacks would be amazing, it is hard to predict someone to break the sack record. But even Parsons agrees that 15 should be attainable for him in 2022. Adding the 17th game to the schedule allows for many more opportunities to break seasonal records. Number 11 only played in 16 games last year, so the extra game will help his overall numbers. The versatility of Parsons makes it difficult for an offensive line to know how he is going to attack them. He can rush from the edge or blitz up the middle and get past any offensive lineman with his speed and strength. 15 sacks may seem like the minimum for Parsons, but even if that is all he gets in 2022, the Cowboys defense should be in great shape. And finally, number 1, win Defensive Player of the Year. After finishing just second in the Defensive Player of the Year award votes in 2021, Parsons has his eyes set on the prize this season. Based on the statistical goals we previously laid out, Parsons will have himself in a position to win the prestigious award if he can achieve those goals. He is already getting after his Cowboy teammates in training camp. The Defensive Player of the Year award is mostly stats-based. The player with the best all-around stats usually wins. That's why we saw TJ Watt bring home the award last year after his 22.5 sack season. For a rookie like Parsons to finish second should give him immense confidence heading into the season. Pass rushers are usually the favorites to win the award, as 8 of the last 10 winners recorded at least 11 sacks. On most betting sites, Parsons has the 4th best odds to win the award behind the likes of Watt, Aaron Donald, and Myles Garrett. Everything is lining up for the second-year pro to have a huge season. Capping off with the Defensive Player of the Year award would be icing on the cake. Let us know in the comment section below, do you think Micah Parsons can reach these goals? Do you think he'll break the single season sack record? Now on to our next topic, reasons why Cowboys Secondary will be key to a successful season. It's amazing how much things have changed for the Dallas Cowboys Secondary under defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. They went from one of the least dependable units in the league to a dangerous and opportunistic unit with the ability to handle whatever was thrown at them last season. That speaks volumes as to how well prepared this coaching staff has gotten these guys before each game. The combination of Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, Jaron Kearse, and Malik Hooker is a solid unit, and there is viable depth behind them. If those 4 defenders can improve on their impressive 2021 seasons, it will greatly benefit the Cowboys as they go against some of their tougher opponents at the beginning of the schedule. The Cowboys secondary needs to have a strong start in order for the team to win games early. This group will certainly see challenges as they will be facing off against teams with a variety of receivers that can be huge factors in games. They'll face receivers with a nice combination of speed and height, or speedsters with the ability to get in and out of breaks quickly to create space and make plays with the ball in their hands. This Cowboys secondary, led by Diggs, will need to be at the top of their game immediately if Dallas wants to have any chance at starting off fast this season. So for this season, in week 1, we got, for receivers that they're facing up against, we got Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Chris Godwin. Week 2, we got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Week 3, we got Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, and Kadarius Toney. Week 4, we got Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. Week 5, we got Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and Van Jefferson. Week 6, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Zach Pascal, and Jalen Reagor. When you combine all of these stats, this squad will be going up against receivers that put up a total of 16,000 yards and 106 touchdowns last season. Now you can look at the quarterbacks for New York Giants and Washington Commanders and say that we shouldn't worry about them as much, but with the changes the Giants made at head coach and offensive coordinator, you can expect to see a jump in production out of this group. And the carousel at quarterback for the Commanders should now be settled with the signing of Carson Wentz. The former Eagle should help boost the group's production, along with a healthy Samuel coming back as well. The Rams' number can be a lot higher if and when they decide to bring back Odell Beckham Jr., who's still recovering from an ACL. Overall, this is a tough group of receivers in the first 6 weeks that will bring multiple looks, groupings, and strengths on the field against a Cowboys secondary that in their second year will be looking to improve upon their breakout season in 2021. Everyone will need to be at the top of their game, or they can see their season start to slip away early to a Philadelphia Eagles team who has bolstered their roster in an effort to win an NFC East divisional title and make noise in the playoffs. To do this, the secondary will need to take fewer chances to come up with a big play and put more of a focus on the fundamentals and assignments so they aren't giving up major yardage. And that is all we have for this episode with a Big D breakdown. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is there something we should have covered? Is there something you disagree with what I said? Let us know in the comment section below and smash that like button. And if you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. That's buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. Your support helps the channel grow, upgrade our equipment, bring in new hosts, pay them, and take this show on the road. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next time.